This is Podcast versus the World. I'm your host, Cameron L. Abington. How you guys doing today? We're brought to you by Doobie Energy Drink. Do the Doobie Do. Go to Doobie.gg. Use code Podcast versus the World. Get 10% off your order. We're also brought to you by RSS.com. Use code Podcast versus the World to help you out with your podcasting needs. Today we're going to talk about education. It's a big topic. We just found out this past week, Linda McMahon with Trump's administration because Trump wanted to destroy the Department of Education. Don't know why. Um, they separate the Department of Education in different groups. Some of it's in the Department of Interior and all the just a bunch of mess. Um, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it today. So let's start here. I was doing a little research, as they say, and in America, in the world, according to a Pew Research, there's a group called the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. This was in 2022, about 15-year-olds, right? And out of those OECD countries, there was 37 that were measured. In America, we ranked 28th in math, right? 12th in science, and 6th in reading, but ninth overall if you count all 81 countries. In a global, and this is probably more prevalent for us, math we were 38, science we were 24, right? And then another group called the Global Burden of Disease Human Capital Project. That's a long one. We were ranked 27th in math and science combined. When President Trump first took office, he said that we were low on our scores. That's 1,000% right. Our scores are bad. He said he felt more comfortable that since the government wasn't doing their job, the federal government, he was going to leave it to the states. Now, what he didn't tell you was that states are broke. States are broke and they need all the money they can get. I mean, I can show you the rankings of some of these schools where they rank at compared to their property taxes. Now, this is not a correlation, but some of it is. Low property taxes sometimes mean low education values. West Virginia is 42 lowest property taxes. In lowest public schools, they are ranked 46. Let's see if we can find. Let's see, Hawaii's 27%. Let's see, they're low. They must be in the middle somewhere. But you get my drift. Pay low property taxes, they're not putting towards the schools. Let's see if we can find. Let's see here. I got some in here. Idaho. Idaho is in the bottom 10 of public schools in America. They are 47. In property taxes, they rank 44. Okay. Let's see. There's another low school. There's Alabama. Let's see. Those over here. Alabama. Alabama is 50th in property taxes. They're also 50th in public schooling. We got a problem in America. And it's a both sides issue. I can't blame Trump. Trump came to a conclusion I don't agree with, but it's logical. You can't sit and fault the man for thinking, well, it's not working. The federal government's not doing enough. Let's leave it to the states. Right? Makes sense if you were to say that. That's a logical conclusion. I can't dog him for it. I don't agree with it, but I can't dog him for it. Okay? So let's start all the way back. No Child Left Behind. My son was part of that. I've known other kids that are part of that. Basically, what that means is they have basically a federal test. And if you did good on the federal testing, your grant, your funding, you actually got more funding. Or you got funding basically, right? So what teachers would do, and this is what all schools did, and you can't blame the schools because this is the way they were playing the game. This is the way you got to play the game. You would teach the test. You would work on testing, not really learning, testing. And there's a difference. I'll give you an example. My son is a big space nerd. At least he was at the time. He wanted to learn more about space. In a science class, that should be no big deal. But because it wasn't part of the testing, they wouldn't go in deep enough into it, and then you would lose him. Teaching is more than just taking a test. And we lost a lot of kids doing that. No child left behind. We left a lot of them behind. This is a Democrat and Republican problem, right? So now come to this point now. Now you have the Trump administration saying, well, the federal government's not doing their job. Look at the numbers. They're doing terrible. But what they're also doing is making government smaller. Like you gotta realize what does the public school system do? What does the federal government do for your schools, right? Trying to get to this slide I got here. Well, not a slide. That's what I was looking at. Um, we have to understand that we have to have public education. We have to have money for it. The federal government helps out with special programs for kids who need help in poor areas. That's what they're there for. Now we already know with this administration, they don't care about poor people. They don't care about your kids or my kids. Because if you're a millionaire or a billionaire, your kids aren't going to public schools anyway. What are we talking about? Kids aren't going to public school. They'll never see the inside of a public school. And that's the point. You see, you have to understand in this new world of ours, not everybody has your best interests at heart. Let's be very honest about it. You ever heard the saying, knowledge is power? If we take the knowledge from our youngsters, they lose their power. I mean, you can look at the internet as of right now. Look at what's going on the internet. Look how ignorant people are. I mean, they're not very smart. I mean, some of you guys' favorite person, Nick Fuentes, said, look, what's keeping America together are the people who are basically dumb. Because if everybody had to take a test to vote, it'd only be Democrats. They don't want your child to be smart. They don't want them to sit here and rationally think about things. Look at the apps they run. Look at TikTok. TikTok's made for it. I'm a TikToker. If you don't know, I do a TikTok show Monday through Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. Sometimes I jump on Fridays and Saturdays. Kind of depends on my mood. It's made for hot takes. They don't want you to critically think. They don't want you to think about stuff. When you start thinking, uh-oh, people get in trouble. Look at Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk went to colleges. You can't tell me every kid that went to watch Charlie Kirk was in college. He would sit there and tell them stuff. They didn't know the truth about it, and they just ate it up like it was the best thing on this earth. They didn't critically think. We don't teach critical thinking. That's something for college. They're cutting funds for college. They don't want your child to sit here and succeed to get out of the circumstances they're at. This is why this education thing is so huge. They want your family, your child, to stay in the position they're at. They need workers. They don't want them to be producers. They want them to be workers. And there's a difference. So President Trump said himself, we have to go get people from other countries to work these jobs because America's workforce isn't good enough. They can't do it. His words, not mine. Education is the key. And when you take that key, you're keeping everybody in their place. See, this education thing's a lot bigger than what people are saying. Because people never thought about this way. You don't ever hear people say, well, this education thing is it's pretty big, we need to be sitting and fighting for it. No, your Republican senators let it happen. They didn't say a word, as far as I know, as far as I can tell. I mean, you know, they haven't said one word about it. I'm looking at what does the Department of Education do. See, because we have to understand the Department of Education is very important. They help out with kids who are left behind, who need the extra help. I mean, let's look at here. What most of education money goes to Title One funding for low income schools. Well, think about this. How many low income schools do you know? I know a bunch of them. If you live in certain states where property taxes are, let's say you live in a low property tax place where they don't pay a lot of money. Oh, West Virginia, I guarantee they look for special I guarantee they look for money from the Department of Education. Delaware, Idaho, Utah, Arizona, South Carolina, Nevada, Colorado, Alabama, Hawaii. Now, we'll say about Colorado, they legalized marijuana. I bet you there's a lot of money taking care of their schools. All right. Listen to the lowest public schools. These are the places that probably need the money. Louisiana, they're not rolling in cash. Indiana, Nevada, Arkansas, West Virginia, Idaho, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Alabama, Arizona. Right? They do special education for kids who need extra help. Pell Grants for college students. School, safety, literacy, and career programs. See, they don't fund our local schools full budget, usually about 8 to 10%. It's federal. But when you're a state, and let's go back to these states that I just read off that property taxes are low, they depend on that money. You can't tell me they don't depend on that money. So now you're taking federal money away. What happens to those low income students? Hmm? What happened to the kids on special education? What about Pell Grants for college kids? Another thing, the Department of Education, this is very important. Title IX, sex discrimination. Title VI, race and national origin. The ADA, rehabilitation and disability. They make sure schools are staying in line, doing what they're supposed to do. With these cuts to education, they're cutting all that out. So now a kid that may be a minority, needs special help, he's out in the air. He's out in the open. No help. He could be a very special child, just needs a little help. Now what do? You see, President Trump doesn't want your kids to prosper. His kids are old. He don't care. Barron, but his son is what, in college. He don't give a damn about your family, your kids. And some of you sit here and still vote for him and still fight for him. It's just crazy to me. You know, I mean, the federal government, the Department of Education also looks over school safety. Don't you like your schools to be safe for your children? See, this isn't for the top 1%. This is for everybody else. This hurts the middle class and the low class people in America. The other 99%, if you will, right? Testing standards. We need that. You always hear America talking about we got to compete with China. We got to compete with China. Well, the only way you're going to compete with China is with our children, our kids. We get our kids ready. We can be the most productive country on this earth. We won't need the HBV visas and having foreign people come over here and work. This is what our president said. We don't have enough workers. How do you think you're gonna have enough workers if you cut education? Education's the key, but they don't want you to prosper. They don't want our kids to prosper. And some of you will sit here and go right into the trap. You'll sit and play the game with them, and you'll go right into the trap and say, "Well, you're right. I did tell you the numbers are bad. Why wouldn't President Trump want to be the president of the people? Because he's not. You think he's acting like the president of the people? You gotta be kidding me." Civil rights enforcement. There's the issue right there. Here we go again. They're taking civil rights away. This administration has been notorious for that. Teacher training. With new curriculum and new standards in the world, we need teachers to be up on all the new technology. Wouldn't it be great to go into a science class and learn about AI and have a teacher that really knows her stuff or his or her stuff about AI? Something that's going to be in our children's lives forever. What's my social say? Huh, some Sony, something. But wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if we had teachers that were able to sit there and understand what's going on in our new center of learning, AI? We see AI taking over jobs. I mean, I could give you a list of jobs of people. Amazon said they're going to cut 600,000 jobs because of AI. Wouldn't it be great to have our next generation of children be able to come out and work with AI? Because that's the only way they're going to get a job. I mean, let's be very honest. Our whole economy is based off AI. But our president just cut the Department of Education that would have teachers teach that. Accountability rules for states. This is to make sure that the states are doing what they're supposed to. Don't come up with a bunch of crap. Don't come up with stuff that you're teaching these kids that it's not true. I mean, Oklahoma said they were going to teach that the 2020 election was stolen, which was a lie. Now that guy's out of it. He's out. He's not working for the state of Oklahoma anymore. Thank God. He was an idiot. He was a moron. The Department of Education also makes sure that they meet the ESSA, the Every Student Succeeds Act. That's what we should be doing, succeeding. We have the brightest minds in this country and we're wasting away because our president doesn't want to spend money on us, but he'll spend money on, I don't know, 40 billion in Argentina. Oh, how about all the billions of dollars we give to Israel, but we can't spend on our kids? Oh, we'll spend money on ICE to go detain people, but we can't spend on our kids. But this is what's going on in America. And then they tell you the lie that the Department of Education runs our schools. They do not. That's a lie. They said we're giving the power back to the states. The states always had the power. It's a lie. Once again, it's another lie ran by the Trump administration. We need the Department of Education. The next president will have to reinstate it and get it back to working again. The states have control, but the Department of Education checks compliance to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. You got Florida talking about getting rid of property tax. How do you think you pay for schools? How do you think that's going to work? Because these people, and more, you think about it, they don't give a damn about your kids. The big beautiful bill just told you, but they don't give a damn about if you're not in the top 1%. They don't give a damn about you. I go a little step further. Look at the Epstein files. The Epstein files are about the ultra rich taking advantage of young kids. And then we have a president that's trying to hide it. Now, he may have went ahead and signed the bill, which I was very impressed with. But why is it taking 30 days to get the files out to everybody? Oh, that's right, because they're scrubbing them. Oh, that's right, they're going to do another investigation. They don't care about your kids. They don't. This country is starting to be more of a top to bottom country. What I mean by that is this country would take care of the top, and the rest of us have to fight for scraps. That's what they want. Because see, the only way a kid can succeed in this world with the way because you're cutting the Department of Education, you better know how to dribble a basketball. How about throw a basket? How about throw a football? Hit a baseball. See, as long as you entertain them, they're fine with that. They're okay with that. You're entertaining. Look at you. Just shut up and dribble. What they say? Shut up and dribble. Shut up and throw that football, boy. Run real fast for me. They don't want you to sit here and be with them. They want you to work for them. And this is what they're doing to our kids. This is what they do. Because knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. But this is their way of keeping the power for themselves and their little rich brats and nieces and nephews and everything else. But let's be honest, this is the only way a kid's gonna get out of the hood. Not everybody can hit a ball. Not everybody can shoot a basket. There are a lot of bright minds out there, but this country is throwing them away. They want you to stay in your place. That's all. They don't care. They don't give a damn. And this Department of Education just proves it. It just proves it again. How many more times do we have to be slapped in the face by this country to be told they don't care about you? If you're not in the club, you're not in the club. And now they're attacking our children. Let's see how many people stand up and are upset about what's going on with the Department of Education. Because see, it's out of sight, out of mind. See, we're worried about the ACA, which we need to worry about. People's insurance is a big deal. I mean, just think about this. When SNAP benefits weren't going out, 42 million people were hungry. 40% of those were children. And our wonderful president was trying to go to the Supreme Court to block even giving partial payment of SNAP benefits to people and family, to give this partial benefits to families. Let that sink in. 40% are children. And these no good SOBs, we're going to let those kids starve. We're fighting to have those kids starve. While they sat in their big little ballroom, had their little Great Gatsby party, families were starving. But see, they like you where you're at. They want you dependent on them. Give them something to bitch about. See, they don't want you to sit here and use education, have your family use education, these kids to use education to get themselves out of a circumstance. They want them to stay there. As much as we may say, and we'll talk about people, oh, I can't believe they're on SNAP benefits. Actually, let's say food stamps. Oh, I can't believe they on food stamps. Look at them. They ain't no good. Look at them. They don't work. They don't do this. They don't want you to succeed. I can show you several times in history when people succeeded without others, and they didn't like it, and so they would burn places down. Look at Black Wall Street. Yeah, I'm talking about the black towns. Yeah, I'm talking about it. People were doing good with other groups, and when the other groups saw that, they didn't like it. Look at what's going on. You have a president of the United States that sat there and made a boogeyman out of people who work on farms and pick vegetables and made them into boogeymen. They're taking your jobs. Okay, let's see how many whites you see going working in the fields. Fields are open. People ain't going back to work. Those poor people ain't going back to work. They don't care. They don't want you to succeed. And some of you will sit there and still put on that red hat. You'll put that red hat on proudly, thinking you're doing something. But all the while, this man is in your pockets robbing you blind. What was that one president? What did he say? If you can make the poorest white man think he's better than the best black man, he'll let you rob him blind or something like that. It goes. They'll give you the money out of their pocket, and that's what's going on. Some of you are so silly. You're sitting there watching your life go to hell, but you'll still support that man with the red hat, not having the common sense to know we're all in this together. This education thing affects us all. All these people that sat there on January 6th, tried to jump and take over the Capitol for this man. Now look at him. He promised us what, $2,000 stimulus check. You see those yet? I doubt you will. Oh, but he can give money to Argentina without no problems. He wrote them a check for $40 billion. Well, don't you find that interesting? If he promised us, first it was $5,000 from Doge checks, then it was $2,000 from the tariffs. Why can't you just cut us a check? He cut Argentina a check. They cut checks for Israel. I find it very interesting that they can cut checks for everybody else. But when it comes to America, oh no, we gotta wait for Congress. You didn't wait for Congress for the 40 billion to Argentina. How about the money you gave to Israel? The extra money. You didn't wait for Congress then. You cut the Department of Education. It's a it's a deal done by Congress. It's supposed to go through Congress before you did all this. Did you check with them? Oh, I forgot. We have a no good Congress. We have a do nothing Congress that don't do a damn thing but sit on their damn thumbs. When are they going to stand up for us? You know, the people that put their ass in office. But you'll watch the education system get destroyed. You just watch the ACA. Insurance rates are going to triple, quadruple certain areas. I mean, it's going to go crazy. I have a cousin that said his insurance went from $70 to $700 a month. But we're okay with that. We're okay with that. When are we going to wake up? America, when are you going to wake up? When are you going to wake up and decide enough is enough? See, I don't know. See, I don't know what else is going to have to take. I mean, he proved to you with the SNAP benefits. And some of you didn't realize you was on SNAP benefits, which I find very interesting. But then again, some people don't even know they're on Medicaid. There was a study that came out that said 25% of people on Medicaid don't even know it. I said, you gotta be effing kidding me. No, that's true. 25% don't even know they're on SNAP benefits, have no idea. But then we sit here and we'll sit here and fight over the scraps instead of sitting here looking at the people up top and telling them to go straight to hell. We'll let them sit here and build data centers and run our electricity bills up, while also with those data centers that they're not talking about enough, they're taking all the water. Now what are we supposed to do? We don't have enough power to supply these places. Oh, that's right, we could have green energy, but our president thought they looked ugly. But you know, he just a fashion icon, right? He don't give a damn about you. He don't give a damn about our kids. I mean, we can go on and on about the stuff this man cares about. He cares about his family. He's made over, I think I saw somewhere, $60 billion off the presidency, taking bribes and doing other things he's not supposed to do. But this is what we're supposed to be happy about. Kids need the Department of Education. These people don't care, man. It's about time we start coming together, left and right. This is a top versus the bottom fight. It's the class system. And if we don't wake up, we're going to be out. We have to help our children. and we're not. We're not helping them. Our president does not care. How many more times do you have to slap you in the face if you understand? Quit defending him. Quit coming. When I do my lives, people come, oh, Trump this, Trump that. Listen, man, Trump's not for you. He don't give two damns about you. And I don't know how many more ways we have to show you. Now he's attacking our children. Now he's attacking our kids. Telling us that the states can do better when these states are broke. Look it up. Look at your state. My state's a borrower state, so I know that we're broke. Now, do we need the Department of Education as much as others? No. We got a good governor. Some people don't. Some states don't make the revenue enough. And there's going to be a lot of children left behind. You thought no child left behind left children. You wait till this kicks in, and these poor states or these poor areas, these schooling places need upgrades. They ain't gonna be able to get it. They're not gonna be able to get it. Tax dollars stretch as thin as they are. Now you have states that have to depend on have to try to work out this Medicaid and food stamps benefits without federal help. Yeah, you watch. Things are going to change. They're attacking families and children. And some of you don't understand which side of the ledger you're on. Well, let me tell you, unless you make a million to $1 billion, you're on the same ledger like the rest of us. But some of you won't learn. Some of you will sit here and listen to this or catch my little clips that'll come out on TikTok and YouTube and say, "Oh, Cameron, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about, Cameron. What are you doing? You don't know what you're talking about." This is the truth. So we'll keep talking about it. Don't forget I have a live on Monday through Thursday, and we're going to talk about it. We'll talk about the Department of Education. We'll talk about any other crazy thing Trump does. Oh yeah, we'll talk about probably the Ukraine and all that silliness that's going on. We'll talk more Epstein files. We'll talk a little this, a little that. We'll see. But I'm just letting you know. We don't give a damn about you. We need to start waking up, paying attention. They're attacking our children, and it's not right. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. If you made this far, please like and subscribe. Don't forget we're on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Um, I have a list of places where this podcast is at. Actually, I gotta find the picture. Do, 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 do. I can find it real quick, so I apologize. I should have had this already looked up. I have it looked up, I just haven't. I had it one time. Oh, here we go. We are on Pandora, TuneIn, iHeart, Deezer, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Listen Notes, RSS.com community. So we're all over the place, man. We're everywhere, man. If you like what you hear, like and subscribe. My email to this show is podcast versus world 76 at gmail.com. On TikTok, which we're trying to get to 10,000. We're working on it. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's under Cameron Abington. We're trying to get 10 to get it in, but we're trying to get to 10,000. We're trying to get more subscribers. Please join me on my live. We'll have TikToks out here pretty soon talking about all this stuff. So I want to thank you for your attention to detail. We'll go over another podcast. Hopefully, get some more out. Another one, we're talking about, I was talking about something, I don't remember. So, anyway, all right. You guys have a wonderful day. May God bless you. May God bless the United States of America. Abington out.